but it's very easy to see these polyvariate continuous signals. And what all he said is log of 1 plus log of xm divided by 1 plus, let me put omega here, 1 plus omega square d omega integrated minus infinity, if this is less finite. I give you this, so you find this integral, and the integral has a finite value, then you are sure that your net function corresponding to this x of m will be a causal function. In the continuous domain, an equivalent is there in the discrete domain, but I won't touch it. We'll come back to this when we go to continuous signal. See, these are the fundamental results people have given to us from mathematics, which allowed us to look at these things and then simplify our life and say, Arey Baba, before you do anything, check whether what you are being asked is possible or not. If it is possible, only proceed. If it is not possible, why are you wasting your time? So, some kind of a tools are given to check whether the requirement can at all be met or not. So, there are a lot of powerful results in this Fourier transform theory, which appear to be not just mathematics, but which has a fallout in terms of practical world. And we have designed all kinds of filters, digital filters, analog filters and all this. We could not have done it if we did not know this. All this is because of the mathematical background that was available from the Fourier transform theory and complex variable theory. Okay. Now, what are all this for? One is whenever you apply a transformation, you are applying a transformation to make your life easy. What is that easy? The easy is some integrals or difference equations get converted into a simple algebraic equation. You take this algebraic equation, invert it, and then you get back the response of the network. So, this transformation, looking at from one domain to another domain, coming back to this domain, has simplified your way of finding the solution to a given problem. This is one great advantage. The second advantage which people have found out from 1970s and 80s is the following question. If I have a signal, and the signal is a long signal, now each x of n requires so many bits to represent as a binary number, and if I have to give you n number of such sample values, n into the number of binary signals is the number of bits you require to represent this sequence, and these bits have to be transmitted on a channel. So the channel must have capability to transmit bits at the rate at which these actions are coming, and these actions are coming at the sampling rate, and the sampling rate is inverse to bandwidth. So, if the bandwidth is very high, then the sampling rate is very small. So, this number of bits are coming in a very short time. So, the data rate becomes very extensive. So, the channel has to cater for this kind of large data rate if I send these actions as they are. Now, the question comes, if I don't do that and look at these actions in the domain, Fourier domain, then you will have Fourier transform. Then it may turn out, hopefully, that the values will die down like this, let us say. Then you put some measure of goodness and say anything beyond this I don't have to worry about. The error that these small values contribute to the signal at the other end is very small. So I disregard this. So now I have only so many samples to send in the frequency domain. And these samples have same number of bits. So these samples, sending them at so many bits per sample, will be much smaller number of bits per second. So this can now be transmitted at a much smaller rate. Are you with me? This is what is known as the bandwidth compression technique. Bandwidth compression, bandwidth of the channel. Because so many bits have to be transmitted per second, so the channel must have a large bandwidth. Can I decrease that bandwidth? Instead of sending the action directly, I send only the Fourier transform values or some transform values. Okay? And we have done this very successfully. What is the example? Your MP3 or MP4 or whatever you call. What did we do? We took the audio signal, converted to Fourier domain by cosine transform, and only send only some number of Fourier domain values and build up the original signal from the Fourier domain values. Once that was successful, we put the same idea to video signals and that became MP4 or something. Right? So the transform that is conventionally used for this purpose of compression now commercially is the cosine transform, which is nothing but a Fourier transform, which is a real part of this e to the power of j omega. So you can do that. And then people said, why the hell only Fourier transform has to be used? Can't I use some other transform? So people went madly into all possible esoteric transforms to see which transform will give you minimum number of bits in the transform domain to transmit the signal with a minimum specified error. So there is so much of literature now on this bandwidth compression. And the latest case is, what is the signal? Wave. You know that. Anyway, we'll come back to that. I'll do that in this course and later on. Every period of time, some transform becomes a very important, crazy, a lot of people work on it. And suddenly somebody will bring up another transform. A lot of people again work on it. So right now the craze is going on in some transform. And Hartley transform, Hart transform, Redon transform, umpteen number of transforms are there in the literature, Gaussian transform. So all this have been tried out to see which one give you a minimum number of bits. So this is another powerful advantage of the transform theory, to reduce the bandwidth. And remember, the bandwidth is a very expensive proposition now. I mentioned to you, we auction the bandwidth now, right? You people know it or not? Cell phone people buy the bandwidth, and typically 6 megahertz bandwidth is sold. And how much do you think these people pay for the 6 megahertz bandwidth? Huh? You have an idea about this auction quotations typically? Of the order of few thousand crores. That is the kind of numbers. The bandwidth has become a big commercial proposition in the last less than 10 years. Before that, God has given the free space, and anybody can use the free space as long as I don't kind of interfere with you. Then you can use it, I can also use it. That's it. Somebody like a wireless advisor used to specify you can do it or not do it because somebody else may be there in that band. But today it is not that governments are auctioning bandwidth. And bandwidth is a very expensive commodity. So now any technique that requires lesser amount of bandwidth to transmit. It is the most chosen method of transmission. So work is going on in terms of finding new transforms which will give you lesser and lesser amount of bandwidth compression. Okay, higher and higher bandwidth compression. I have already used the word video signal. What is a video signal? As against the audio signal. Audio signal is a time signal, right? As time passes, the amplitude goes on changing some manner, and most probably random manner, because if it doesn't change in a random manner, there is no information. So amplitude is changing in a random manner, and somehow or other I must send this signal from here to you through the loudspeaker or whatever it is. That's audio. But in video, what do we do? What is the problem with video? Video is I am going to send a picture, and the picture is a spatial representation, and an x coordinate and a y coordinate, and it is a z coordinate also. What is z coordinate? Time. Because the signal changes from time to time, so I will give you this image at this time, I will give you image at that time, I will give you image at that time. Right? So I need to have a signal which has many dimensions. Now, can I extend these ideas to multi-dimensions? It's very simple to extend the Fourier transform from one domain to multiple domains. So what all I do is x of mn e to the power of minus j 2 pi m n mk by n into e to the power of j 2 pi with a minus sign. The double Fourier transform. This is transforming in one domain, and this is transforming in the other domain, and obviously I must have K1 and K2. So you get a x K1, K2. See, these are spatial numbers in the image, in the picture, and these are all the spatial frequencies. Spatial frequency dimension of an inverse of the length. So we call them spatial frequencies. So you represent this picture in 2 dimensions into an equivalent spatial domain, and you can go on extending to 3 domains. I do require it because in electromagnetic theory there is another domain coming, but that domain is also coming. So x, y, z, t. So I can do this expansion in terms of 4 domains of 3 x, y, z and 4, 1, t. So I can generalize this to any number of dimensions, n dimensions, same idea. And all these are orthogonal. So the orthogonality principle will give you now that advantage of expanding in multi-domains. Okay.